Entry techniques. What are entry techniques? Entry techniques are going to be the way you decide to enter into the market. Why are entry techniques important? Entry techniques are important because it gives you a methodical way of entering the market. Not only is it a way of getting you into the market, it can be a way of getting you out of the market when the market does not give you the right signs. What are the entry techniques? When price gets to your point of interest, you will be looking for your signal on a lower time frame to enter the market. It can be on any time frame and the technique can come in 6 ways. You could use any of the techniques to enter a long or short position. All of these entries can be applied with a conservative or an aggressive stop loss. First is going to be price taps into your point of interest. 2, price rejects from the point of interest. 3, price gives a change of character. 4, price breaks structure. 5, price mitigates an order block. 6, price creates a new low or high. Buy entry techniques with a conservative stop loss. When taking a buy entry with a conservative stop loss, the stop loss will be placed at or below the point of interest you are trying to buy from. This will be considered a conservative stop loss because you are giving the market more room to breathe. The market can drive deeper into the point of interest before going in the anticipated direction. It is great for allowing your bias time to play out, but it will decrease the size of your risk reward. Here's an example for each technique with a conservative stop loss you could use to enter the market. So here are each techniques shown in images. So first, you can have a buy limit set or manually enter the moment price hits the point of interest. So the moment price hits your point of interest, as Andreas has done before, you could place a buy manually if you want to do that. Or you can already have a buy limit set down there so you don't have to manually do it yourself. The second technique would be you can enter a long position when you get any form of rejection. This can be a wick, bullish candle, or anything you see as rejection. So even this left side with the bearish candlestick, there is a wick. If you want to count that as a rejection, go for it. That is your entry technique. You can wait for a bullish candlestick. That is an entry technique. You can wait for a bullish engulfing candlestick pattern. All those can be forms of rejections. Whatever you see fits as a form of direction, as a form of rejection, can be entry technique number 2. 3, you can enter the market the moment price gives a bullish change of character. So here, this isn't a break of structure because this is the high that led into the low. You're actually getting an internal break of structure, which is a change of character. That could be your third technique. Fourth, you can wait for price to give a bullish break of structure. This is the high that led into the low. Price gives a bullish break of structure. This could be your fourth technique. Your fifth one, you can enter a buy order off of a bullish order block mitigation. So from there, there's an extreme order block, like I've told you guys. From this low to high, price comes in and mitigates the extreme order block. And remember, this is on a lower time frame. So the big rectangle, the big POY is your higher time frame POY, and then the smaller order block within it is a fractal order block that you are refining and you are zooming in to get a better entry. So price mitigates this order block, that could be an entry. And the last one is you can wait for another structure high to be formed. Once price makes a new high, so this is a high to a low. Um, did I do this right? Boom, 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 break a structure. So here, price breaks structure. This is the high to a low price break structure. And the moment price makes a new higher high, that could be your last potential entry point. So those are 6 ways of getting into the market. Me personally, I recommend you to wait for a bullish break of structure, at least. This is why some people take um, the breakout trade once price breaks structure. They'll take the buy and then put their stop loss underneath the low. In this case, the entire POI. Because as I said, with a conservative stop loss, you should put your stop loss beneath the entire higher time frame POI. Me personally, I want to see a break of structure and then price pull back of some sort. And I wanted to see order block. I want to see order block mitigation. And then from there, I take that buy. I won't wait for 6 to happen. I rarely do a change of character. Sometimes that's more of a confidence play if I do a change of character. But ideally, I do entry technique number 5. After the break of structure, I enter a buy off of the bullish order block mitigation. To me, 6 is too late. And to me, anything beneath, especially here to here, is too soon. Not enough information. But you can. It's possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nas. Cool. Sell entry techniques with a conservative stop loss. When taking a sell entry with a conservative stop loss, the stop loss will be placed at or above the point of interest you are trying to sell from. This will be considered a conservative stop loss because you are giving the market more room to breathe. The market can drive higher into the point of interest before going into the anticipated direction. It is great for allowing your bias time to play out, but it will decrease the size of your risk to reward. Here is an example for each technique with a conservative stop loss you could use to enter the market. Same thing with flipped. Option number one, take a sell manually when price hits it, or put a sell limit. Second, take the rejection. Could be a wick rejection, bearish order block. No, my bad, not bearish order block. Bearish candle rejection, bearish engulfing candle rejection. Either one. Third, wait for a change of character. Fourth, break a structure, which is what I'm personally waiting for. And then five, order block mitigation. In this case, bearish order block mitigation. And then six, create a new low. I will say, I personally will take a break of structure breakout if the stop loss is still reasonably small. Meaning, I'm not sure if there's an example I can pull up. I wouldn't use this as structure right here, but let me see. Let's use this as an example. I'm looking for buys, and this right here is my break of structure. And say I decide, well, since price made a high to a low, price post structure, I can enter once price breaks out. That's fine. You can do that. Stop loss should at least be underneath this low. If you're using a conservative stop loss, obviously you would have a POI over here like this. And I'll get into conservative as well. And my bad, aggressive stop losses. Something like this. So now you pretty much have a, what is that, 13 pip stop loss. Actually, this is US 30, so it's points, not pips. But either way, for the example, let's say 13 pips. This is fine. But the fact that I have to risk 13 pips, or say in this case, 11 pips or so, I don't like that trade. The problem with this is if I don't take this trade, price could take off. I'm waiting for a pullback, but I missed my entry because I decided not to pull the trigger and price never pulled back. But to me, this stop loss is way too wide. I don't like that. I want to see some from pullback, maybe come into this order block here, or if I want to be extra, I wait for this extreme order block to come into play. I wait for this one, obviously my risk goes down. Now I'm only risking 4 pips or so. So if I feel like this stop loss is too big, I will wait for a pullback. If I feel like the stop loss isn't big and I can just take a breakout trade, I will take it. But it completely depends on my risk reward. Say if I'm shooting for highs right here, if I take this trade right now, this will be a 1 to 2. I don't like that. If I take a trade down here, turns into a 1 to 6. I like that. So I rather wait rather than shoot for a low RR trade. And so obviously I already seen price play out. And then we had the beautiful liquidity sweep going into it. Take an entry there. So that's how I would decipher if I want to take just a break of structure or an order block mitigation after break of structure. But 4 and 5 are my main go-tos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Buy entry techniques with an aggressive stop loss. These are the exact same, but let me just read this. When taking a buy entry with an aggressive stop loss, the stop loss will be placed above the low of the point of interest. You are placed below the low of the point of interest you're trying to buy from. This will be considered an aggressive stop loss because you are not giving the market more room to breathe. I'm out of worded this word. The stop loss will be placed above the low, below the low of the point of interest you are trying to buy from. And I think it sounds confusing because of this first one, which I'll explain right now. This will be considered an aggressive stop loss because you are not giving the market market more room to breathe, the market can dive deeper into the point of interest and stop you out before going in the anticipated direction. It is great for trying to hit a larger risk to reward trade, but may cause you to get stopped out early. Here is an example for each technique with an aggressive stop loss you could use to enter the market. So you can have a buy limit to set or manually enter the moment price hits the point of interest. So if you have a buy limit, your stop loss should be somewhere down here. If you decide to pull it up any further, to me that is an aggressive stop loss because it should be underneath the POI. Um, yeah, even if you place a buy the moment it hits in there, your stop loss to me should still be underneath this low. If you take a rejection, say you see price rejected, whether it's a wick, bullish candlestick, whatever it is, and if you put the stop loss underneath the lowest point that price went, to me that is an aggressive stop loss. The stop loss really should be underneath the entire POI. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, price can dive deeper into the order block, stopping you out, and then go into your direction. Third one, change of character again, stop loss underneath the lowest low, bullish break of structure, stop loss underneath the low, even after order block mitigation, stop loss underneath the lowest low. When price makes a new high, stop loss. Even you can even pull it up even further, as you can see. Anything that's above the higher time frame POI is a aggressive stop loss. Me personally, once I get my break of structure, I am willing to take my risk and put my stop loss underneath the low. Because my thinking is, why would I put it underneath here if price already told me price should be making higher highs and higher lows? I take a buy here, price should not break this low. If I want to be conservative, I can put my stop loss somewhere down here. But at this point, since I've seen the signals that I want to see, I will pull it here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get it.
But I also understand that price could technically sweep out this low and then go on higher. It could. That's why sometimes that does happen. And to me, if that does happen, something like that, delete all this stuff. Say price is here, here, I take a buy, and then price sweeps out my low like this. I personally will take the loss, and I would only get back in the buy if price gives me another break of structure and then buy. I'll buy here. So I would just take two trades pretty much. But if you had a conservative stop loss down here, you would have been in drawdown, but you would have been fine. And then sell entry techniques with an aggressive stop loss, same exact thing, just flipped. First one, just tap into the order block, stop loss somewhere within the order block, the POY, and then rejection, stop loss above the high, change of character, stop loss above the high, break of structure, stop loss above the high, and then order block mitigation, stop loss above the high, and then price makes a new low. I don't ever use the entry technique number 6. It's possible. Personally, I use an aggressive stop loss using the techniques of the break of structure and the order block mitigation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. And then you have buy entry techniques at advanced point of interest. And Nas, I'm not sure if we went over that with you, but it's pretty much whenever you enter, you're not entering off of a POI, meaning you're not entering off of a order block. You are entering off of a liquidity sweep. When taking a buy entry at an advanced point of interest, the stop loss will be placed somewhere below the point of interest you are trying to buy from. This setup will always be considered an aggressive play because you are preemptively jumping the market and unsure how far down you should place the stop loss. It is best to wait for more than one entry technique if you're using this method. The market can drive lower past the point of interest and stop you out before going in the anticipated direction. These setups will be higher risk with a lower probability, mainly due to the fact that you are unsure where to place a stop loss. Here's an example for each technique you could use to enter the market. So here, whenever you're entering off of a liquidity sweep and just purely off of that, not off of a order block mitigation play, to me, everything is an aggressive stop. And the tough part about that, the reason why it's always an aggressive stop and is a lower probability setup and has higher risk, is due to the fact that you are preemptively expecting the banks to jump in. You don't really have much confirmation and clues. So if you see price take out a low and you just take an entry here, where do you put your stop loss? You don't know how much liquidity the banks need. Even if you take a bullish engulfing pattern, you don't know how far the banks could go to sweep more liquidity. Change of character, break of structure, all these same exact things to me are high risk, low probability setups. You can still use them. I advise you not to, but I put them in here in case you want to try to use them. This is how I would try to use them. Sell entry techniques at advanced point of interest, same exact thing, just after a buy side liquidity sweep. These are hard because you don't know exactly where to put your stop loss.